What's up, family? Welcome to episode 20. I have a special guest today. He's been on here before. He's a dear friend of mine. We go way back. But before I continue, episode 20, turning grief into growth, basically fighting our battles of personal growth when we lose somebody, right? But without further ado, like I said, me and him go way back, and he's been on here before. So no need for a long introduction. Mr. Hardo.
What's going on? Happy to be back for round two.
Yeah, man. What's good, man? Thanks for coming. What's new and kicking?
Life is new. Life is new. Had a lot of changes in life, especially with family. This is why, this is a great topic, to start covering because um, a lot of things happen to people when they lose a loved one, a dear friend, whatever you call it, whatever relationships you have with somebody, a deep relationship with somebody, and it goes away.
Yeah, man, it's hard because you're so used to that person being in your life and all of a sudden just out of nowhere, But
Absolutely.
you ready to tackle this, man? Let's do this.
Let's do it.
What's what have you learned turning grief into growth in your personal life?
Well, to be honest, I lost my mom in September of last year. Like I mentioned prior to the beginning of the show, in 10 days it'll be 1 year. It was very hard for me, especially with the great life she lived and the lives that my mother changed. To see her the way she was just weeks prior to her passing. Also, about a month and a half ago, I lost my mother-in-law. And when I first got into my marriage, she became to me my second mother, so she recently passed away, like I said, about a month and a half ago. And to lose a second mother figure or a second parental figure in a year really hurt. But, reflecting on all that, you, you, people end up grieving and moping when they don't want to, they take death as a last straw, if you want to call it that, like they take death as bad as that person left your life, they'll feel the same way. Like, oh, my mom passed away. I can't see my life without my mom or my dad. I don't know what I'll do without my parents or something, right? So they'll mope around there. But
Yeah.
like this topic, right? Growth, grief, and then growth, right? They don't want you to be that way. They don't. They want you to be the happiest person in the world. They want you to live your life to the best of your ability. They want you to live life. Like, remember back in the day, they said YOLO, you only live once. It's true. Live your life to the fullest because remember, tomorrow is not promised.
That's
So
true.
you have to pick yourself up out of that slump that you're going to be in, that funk that you're going to be in for a month, 2 months, 3 months. But it's just how you make yourself rise from the ashes like the phoenix.
Okay. Yeah, I see your point. I would say that death is a natural part of living too, man. Just like we
It is.
just like we embrace being born, having a new baby, a new family member introduced to the family, death is also a natural part. It might be a part that we don't necessarily like as much, but let's face it, it's all part of the circle of life, right? And I too lost my mom like you, but I lost my mom at a younger age, 13,
Hmm.
14 years old. And it did change me. And I think you mentioned grieving for like 2 months. And I wasn't the same. But thanks to that, my life as an adult now, I've been there, done that. I don't want to say I got a callus over that emotional bond, but my emotional intelligence and how to cope with things has grown tremendously. That was like a growth spurt for me whenever my mother passed away, because let's face it, it's different when your mother passes away when you're young than when you're older in your 30s and your 40s. Like, you've got all those years to spend with your parents, whether you like them or not. That's irrelevant. But I'm talking about at least you
Right.
have them. At least you have them. But for a young adult, younger than me, possibly at that age, to lose a mom or a parent figure, yo, man, let me tell you, the struggle is real. But no, thank you for
Really
sharing
true.
that, man. And I hope that sharing stories could bring us closer in this whole topic of grief and into growth. Anything else you want to add before we move on? No? Okay. Lessons they leave behind, wisdom, habits of loved ones. Do they continue to guide you from a different realm, or what do you think, man?
Some people say that they do. Some people, like, take for instance my sister-in-law's youngest daughter, right? Her name is Kylie. She, because they were there when my mother-in-law passed away, and they saw, because she passed away like early in the morning, about 5:40ish in the morning, right? So the sun was just coming up and all that kind of stuff, right? So every time that they see the a beautiful sunrise, they say that she's there. She's making the sunrise so beautifully. So it's just their spirit. They're trying to tell you, like their spirit is there. They're assisting you in your everyday life, coping, and just getting a start to your day. Like, how they say when somebody gets into an accident, like, oh, God was watching me, or my aunt was watching over me. Like, they give you that spiritual hug that is going to protect you during this horrible incident. So, like, how did and like when somebody asks you, how did you survive? Man, God had me, and or my guardian angel protected me. When you can probably think your guardian angel is your lost loved one.
Yeah. No, I completely agree with you, man. As a matter of fact, in some cultures, Dia de los Muertos, every year, the Mexican Dia de los Muertos, we offer them
Mhm.
ofrendas to remind
Yeah,
ourselves, like, hey, they're still with us, just not in physical form. They're still watching over us, and
absolutely.
as long as we remember them, they're never going to go away. They're going to be
No,
our. Go ahead.
and that tradition is Central American too. Like, a lot of Central Americans celebrate it. They start. It's a 7-day process, I
Yeah.
believe. Like, the
Yeah.
first day is when you put the pictures up or the ofrenda up. The second day is like a welcoming, a feeding is the next day, and then it's like a process.
Yeah,
It's
you
a
got
beautiful process.
libations in there too. Yeah, it's a beautiful process, man. And not to get not to get off topic real quick, but in other cultures in Africa and the Caribbean, they do libations too. If
Mhm,
oh, let me take this rum and offer it to the homie who passed away. Libations, and
mm,
just like if you do candle magic. I know this is off topic, but I'll get with it. Candle magic, you can offer libations to your spirit guides or maybe coffee,
mhm.
like you said, ofrendas. But as long as we have the loved ones that were in our life at one point in time, I don't think they ever really truly leave us. Maybe the physical
No,
form, 3D form do for sure, man. Because, dust to dust, ash to ash, but the spirit, the things that they taught us, the wisdom that they left behind, that stays with us, man.
absolutely.
Yeah. So thanks for sharing that, man. What about morality and motivation? How facing death inspires people to live more fully, like live like if you were dying tomorrow.
That goes back to the saying YOLO.
Yeah.
You know, you only live once. They
Yeah.
People, like, you gotta live life to the fullest. You gotta this, you gotta that. Um, Honestly, you just gotta live for yourself. You gotta live for yourself. If you have a family, live for yourself and your family. Do what makes you happy, because again, it's always said, tomorrow is not promised.
No, it's not.
Tomorrow's not promised. Could be the most healthiest person right now. You can
Yeah.
be running marathons and eating keto and have like a blood sugar that's perfect. If for these non-diabetic people, you could be like
Yeah.
the perfect person. And tomorrow you're not there.
Not there. And isn't it weird, man? I don't know if this happens to you, but it has happened to some of my friends to where their friend that they were talking to last week all of a sudden passes away in a terrible car accident, or just
Mhm.
something happened. It's like a wake up call to ourselves that, oh my
Yep.
gosh, like I was just talking to so and so last week. I can't believe that happened to him or her. I need to get my stuff
Yeah.
together. I need to get my life together. It's like a wake up call, like wake up, enjoy your life, spend it with your friends, spend it with your family, spend it with your loved ones. Cause you, like you said, I think you said it a couple times, live a full life. YOLO, you only live once. But it's not in the process of grieving. Yeah, like that was my friend, and I'm sorry that happened to him or her. But thanks to that grieving process, I now like, hey, I need to cherish my life. I need to live more. I need to go out, do things that I said I was gonna do, but then I procrastinated in doing them. You know?
Right. That happened to me with two two people that I know. One of them was my uncle. He passed away about a year ago. Well, a little bit over about a year and a half, almost 2 years ago. He was on dialysis and he called me. He called me the night before. He's like, "Hey," he would do like his random checks, like he would call every week, every other week, just to do a family check in, right?
Yeah.
And about 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon the next day, my cousin calls me and tells me that my uncle passed away, and I'm like, "What happened?" Right? And he had suffered a heart attack during dialysis. And normally when he does his phone calls, he likes to call everybody in on his phone that's family, or just the ones that, he really had a connection to, right? If you answered, cool. If not, he'd leave you a nice voicemail, not like a nasty gram, like a guilt trip nasty gram. But I picked up the phone and I talked to him for like 20 minutes. It was a great phone call. And then come to find out, I was his last phone call. I was the last person who answered the phone that night. And then my friend from my fraternity passed away when I was going to work. He had went to go help his friend in Louisiana. Spot on guy. You're in trouble or you need a hand. You call him. He's on his way. He will stop what he's doing and go help you. Apparently, he went to go like they were coming back. They stopped by McDonald's. They ended up passing out on the couch. They woke up early. They had some of the leftovers from McDonald's, and then his throat closed. His throat closed. When the paramedics came, they could not open up an airway. Unfortunately, he ended up passing away that same morning. And I had just talked to him the night before about his health. Take care of yourself. Make sure you take your medicine, go see your doctors and stuff, because he was always in the hospital about something with his blood pressure or circulation in his legs. And yeah, it just next morning. It's crazy. So life is short. You never know who you're gonna talk to last, and all of a sudden you're not there no more.
Yeah. That was that a wake up call for you? Was that a wake up call for you?
It was. It was because I mean, the more you tell somebody to take care of themselves, the less you do it yourself. Like you might have that friend that like you're still active duty, right?
Yeah.
You always tell your soldiers, "Hey, and if you're sick, go to sick call." You know, uh, or they come up to you and confide in you, "Hey, Sergeant, my wife is kind of sick and this and that. Go take care of your wife. How's her health?" Like worrying about other people, and then all of a sudden you're not taking care of yourself. You got to take care of your star player.
Bro, thank you so much. You just every time that I have a guest on here, they always remind me of a book that I've read that I heard something similar to what they're telling me, and I'm telling you that you're speaking facts on there's this book called 12 Rules for Life by Dr. Jordan B. Peterson. And one of the rules is there that he writes on there is treat yourself like someone you're responsible for helping. And he speaks that people take better care of other people better than they take care of themselves. Why is that? What do you think that is?
I mean, if you think about it, like growing up in the military, it being especially being a leader, you will take care of your soldiers, or you take care of whoever, right? Like let's say you're the older sibling, right? And your younger sibling looks up to you and you're always there guiding them, teaching them, coaching them, mentoring them, through all their walks of life and until you fly the coop, until you leave the nest, right? But you always do those spot checks once you're gone. But when are you going to take care of yourself? That's the main question.
Is it worth taking care of ourselves? Shouldn't we be taking care of ourselves too?
We should. We should. Taking care of I mean, doing that noble deed it's like a two-way street, I take care of you, I take care of myself, but honestly, like take for instance, like my last year or two in active duty, I was taking more care of my soldiers than myself. I would be there till like late just because I would make sure that my soldiers were always taken care of, and I put aside my family and their well-being, you know? But then when I got out, I didn't have to take care of nobody. I just started looking out for myself and my wife and my kids. Still looking out for them and their health, putting mine to the side. It's kind of like it's like kind of like the infinity sign, It's a never-ending racetrack, but then when time comes, you never know. Why didn't he take care of himself? He was always taking care of somebody else.
I think that's one of the things they tell about people with depression. They hide it behind this face that's always
Mm.
so happy. They tell jokes. I mean, look at the late Robin Williams. Nobody knew he was depressed.
Yes, yes, I was about to say the same thing.
Nobody knew that he was depressed, man, until it happened. And he brought joy. He brought families together. He was a great person. He was a great actor. And all of a sudden, you hear this thing that happened to him. It's like, whoa, what? I thought he was happy.
Like, take on the same note, the former singer of Linkin Park, Chester Bennington, right? If you analyze his song lyrics, they're about depression. They're about fighting your inner demons, you know? Come to find out he was the happiest person in the whole group. He had a family, everything, and he ended up taking his life.
It goes to show you, like,
Depression.
exactly, man. It doesn't matter if you're higher on the income status, lower on the income status, in between the income status, you're rich, you're famous, you're poor, you're impoverished. Bro, this affects everything. Grieving affects everything, especially when you lose somebody, you know? And it's just that you have to
Mhm.
have that mindset of growth. What has this taught me? That life doesn't last forever. Even to the people that I admire, that showed me how to live a right life, that gave me food, that protected me, even they are mortal. So what different am I different? Am I immortal? No, I'm still mortal. I'm still gonna fly the coop like you said one day. So it kind of
Mhm.
opens up your eyes, man.
It does. It does. Like the biggest thing that I take away from that is count your blessings. Count your blessings, whether they're big or small. Like you said, you can be the most poorest man and be the happiest man because you're poor. And it's vice versa. You can be the most richest man in the world, most famous man in the world, and you can be depressed.
Yeah. Yeah, you're speaking facts, man. In the book, The Power of Now, the author Eckhart Tolle uses a parable from the good book. He says,
Hmm.
would you rather lose your soul and gain the world, or have your soul and lose the world? Inner riches, outer poverty. Outer riches, inner poverty. So it goes hand in hand with what you just said, man. And this has been said 2000 plus years ago, dude. And I think this is the most important part of the whole, how important this podcast for personal growth is, man. When people come on like you and talk about their personal growth that they had, and their stories, I think our audience can relate to them, because at the end of the day, we're human, you know?
Right. There's a book that I read a long time ago that when I first really got diagnosed with depression and bipolarism, it's called let me see if I got it here. I do. Well, yeah. It's called Don't Believe Everything You Think by Joseph Wynn, right? You can find it on Amazon. It showed me a broader picture of how people can think with while fighting depression. One thing that I learned with after being diagnosed as bipolar is being transparent. Transparency is like the best thing that you can do. It's the best thing you can have, because some people fight depression and bipolarism with buying this, buying that. Like they get mania, like they get manic episodes. Like
Mm,
me, like I'm gonna use me as an example. I would just buy stuff just to buy it because that thing looked cool. Like, take for instance, this glue bottle. It was a cool commercial and I just had to have it. So I got it. Why? I didn't have a use for it. It just looked cool. But, when people fight things that they don't know they have, that's where you have to really invest yourself in finding out what you got, looking for tools to conquer what you're trying to fight. Like, I'm
tools.
gonna use my kids as my kids are autistic, right? You can do the most research about autism, but tomorrow you learn something new that you didn't know yesterday. And the day after you learn something new again. With people with autism, it's a never-ending learning cycle. So I learn something new about my kids' condition every day because I read this book, I read this pamphlet, I do this research, because I want to know how to tackle myself tackling them and their situation.
I hear you. And do you think that having your parent pass pass away a year ago, here in 10 days have prepared you to be a more conscious father to your children?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, because the relationship between my mom and my kids was cooking, you know? Yeah, they were sad, but it was the coaching them because they're autistic, you know? Coaching them in between the, hey, your grandma's not doing too good, the stages to prepare them for grief is what prepared me to face the inevitable.
Would you say that the cooking aspect between your daughters and your mom, was that a ritual that they had together? That was their bond, that was their glue, that we're gonna go to grandma's house and
Yeah.
we're gonna cook in XYZ and we're gonna make pancakes and all this other stuff.
Yeah, because like with my mom, they would make Chilean food,
Mm.
right? So they learned how to make Chilean empanadas, you know? So they were there with her making the inside, making the dough and putting it in the oven, taking it out and all that kind of stuff, like that was their bond.
Man, bro.
And like the bond that my kids had with my mother-in-law was making breakfast, like how you said, like making eggs, making pancakes. Like no one can make pancakes like grandma made pancakes, you know?
Yeah.
So,
No, that's we all share something similar to that, man. Whether it be breakfast, whether it be arts and crafts, whether it be
mhm,
fishing, what you name it, man. We always share that a special bond. I can tell you right now, I still remember my special bond with my mom was watching telenovelas.
mm,
I know it sounds funny or soap operas for the English language, right? And
yeah,
that was our bond, watching every time I got off of school, there was a certain time period that this novella came on, man, and it was our thing. And my father's thing was me going fishing with him. I love fishing, you know, and that was our
you
time to
sure do.
bond. I sure do. But needless to say, man, I totally understand, you know, where you come from, where your little girls come from, and how everything correlates with the circle of life and the stages of grief and having that conscious awareness that hey, we're not gonna live together. We're not gonna live forever, man. So
Mhm.
let's make the best of it. On the other note, Hector, what about the role like I mentioned earlier, what about the role of memories? Like those memories that we cherish the most, whether it be from childhood, adulthood, do you think that kind of helps us to be more resilient into remembering how they helped us and stuff like that?
I believe so. I believe so because think about it this way, right? The memories that you made with this person that you're grieving, right? It's going to let's say you like take for instance you and your dad was fishing, right? You're fishing out there. I remember me fishing with my dad, so you do it. It's like muscle memory, right? I remember my mom because we made bread together. I remembered my mother-in-law because I would wake up and help her cook breakfast for the family, or I would take her to this certain market to go get pan dulce and frijoles and stuff so we can make breakfast the next morning for the family or make it later in the day when, it's nighttime and we want to have some coffee and stuff,
Yeah.
things like that. It's some muscle memory. When you do it again out of like you do it unconsciously, you know what I mean? Like, I wasn't planning on going to the bakery or the panaderia. It was just on my way. Now I just pulled in and started getting stuff. And I remember getting this, my mother-in-law, you know, I'm doing this in memory of her, and
And
then you do it unconsciously,
yeah.
but at the same time, you're remembering how beautiful it was when you did it together with this person you're grieving.
Yeah. You know, I used to I did not like waking up early in the morning for church,
Mm,
but now, you know, I feel at times I feel obligated to go to church because, you know, even if it's 7, 8 in the morning, I don't know, it was something that my parents instilled in me to go to church or at least give an ofrenda, you know, pass by there and give thanks.
light the candle.
Exactly, light a candle, give, the limosna, basically, you give a little money to the church for whatever, just to help them out, but something like that, man, it's nice. It is.
It is because I mean, you're doing a good deed.
Yeah.
You're doing a good deed, whether, like you said, whether it's going to church at 7 in the morning, 8 o'clock in the morning, 10 o'clock, waking up and doing your laundry. Like, oh man, mom used to wake up at 7 o'clock on a Saturday and start pulling the dirty laundry and pouring the fabuloso in the bucket and just start cleaning, you know?
But the
Mhm.
Fabuloso then dude, the Fabuloso, that was the thing, bro. That was the
Yeah,
thing.
I mean, even so, like, let's say your mom used Downy or your whoever, your loved one used Downy, and then you're at the store. You just grab whatever, right? And you open up, like, you're like, "Mom's clothes."
Yep, yep. I know exactly what you mean. It's
Yeah.
it's that trigger memory that reminds you of a certain somebody, a certain place, a certain event,
Mhm.
like homemade tortillas or homemade empanadas. That
Mhm.
that that smell of that food brings memories, man. And
Yeah.
sometimes it's a beautiful thing that we have that correlation that this food specifically reminds us of this person in our lives that was once with us.
Mhm. I've seen people at, like, remembrances of life, like, we went to a lake, right,
Mhm.
for one of my friends when I used to contract. They poured his ashes into the lake because that's where they always went to, you know? So every time they go, now they remember him and he's a part of this area, you know? So, like, doing stuff because you want to is a beautiful thing.
I can't say any better than that, bro. What about faith, spirituality, and the afterlife belief? How different worldviews shape the coping of growth.
It's like what we talked about earlier, like the Spanish Dia de los Muertos, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to do it once a year. You can have a picture in your room. You can have like a cabinet somewhere in your house that has
A
candles,
shrine?
pic a shrine. Yes, thank you. A shrine. You can have like a shrine of them inside your house. And guess what? You can walk by, "Hey, mom. Good morning, mom. Hey, dad. Good morning, dad. Light this candle for you today. Hope you come home." But that that to me, that's like spiritual. Like,
Yeah.
you're always welcome them. You're always welcoming them. They're always welcome to you,
Yeah.
right? You know, Anybody that you lost, like your tia or something, your aunt, your cousin, your uncle, if you carry them, spiritually, they're gonna always be with you,
Absolutely.
no matter what.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah, and that doesn't go ahead.
I was gonna sorry for intruding, man, but I was gonna add to for the skeptics that don't believe in an afterlife, right? I would say I
Mhm,
would challenge you. How do you explain ghost? Better yet, how do you
mm,
explain pictures that all of a sudden show somebody else that wasn't there at the time you took the picture, who happened to be maybe someone that you knew, or maybe someone that you didn't knew? That was a little bit more creepier, but there's always this is not our last form, and I truly believe that there's something else beyond this physical form, man. And I think that our guides up there know what they're doing and know what they know better than we do at this moment in time. They help us guide us basically. And sorry for the intrusion, man.
not at all. You don't have to be sorry. Do you have, like, a shrine?
I
Not off
do.
topic, but do you have, like, a sh
I do
so,
actually. Yeah, I do. I do have an altar. I have an
have you
altar. It's a little bit different.
ever, lit a candle and put a glass of water next to it?
I have one right now, except it's not filled with glass. It's filled with a libation, like I said before.
What I do is I have, like, my little altar shrine. I put a white candle and I put a glass of water. There are times that when I go, if I leave it overnight or something, when I leave the candle lit a day or 2, 3 days, 4 days, that glass of water has bubbles in it. Where did that gla where did those bubbles come from? I challenge you to try it. Just leave a glass of water, see what it does. Yes, theory, science will tell you that that water is gonna evaporate, but water evaporating in a normal climatized home is going to take a while, right? Spiritual,
It's not like you're out in the open where the sun's hitting it. It's getting,
correct.
yeah, of course, of course.
So spiritual people will tell you that that person in the picture or that thing that you have it, when it goes down, when it's not in direct sunlight to, heat up in
Mhm.
that glass, that they're drinking it. Look it up. I challenge you.
I fold and I believe you in that. I don't think you realize you're talking to one of the most spiritual people out there, man. I don't know if you saw the last episode, a couple episodes ago, the supernatural and esoteric episode. and
Mm.
we speak a lot about stuff that you can't really explain. And like you said, man, how do bubbles get in there? You know, it's crazy.
In that episode, you guys talked a lot about, but I don't think you guys talked about people with like Ouija boards
No, yeah, no, no, definitely not people with Ouija boards
and
or
I can't do.
scarring, or I don't know if you heard about scarring too, but it has similar effects to that. There's fire scarring and there's mirror scarring, but I rather just leave my spirit guides up there, and and maybe like give them offerings and say thank you so much. Like you said, hey mom, hey dad, how you doing? Like leaving a candle, but not really trying to make a road to them so they I'm good.
Mhm.
But needless to say, man, I know exactly what you mean.
What people do now too is they use those heatless candles, like the ones that you put a battery in.
Yeah.
Same concept, but you know, it all depends on what you want to do. They're not gonna look at you from the heavens above and say, "Oh, you didn't light an actual candle for me. It's a fake candle." At least you're honoring them with the little with a shrine in the altar or something, or you're giving them their how sometimes people do, like how you said with libations, or a glass of water, whatever.
No, I hear you, man, and I trust me, we're on the same boat on that. So, but
Mhm,
I don't know if I would trust the electrical candle over the natural fire candle that we actually had to light up with a match and pray
mhm.
over and everything. But I guess it's for a safety hazards. I guess I don't know, but
Especially with kids, sir. Especially with kids.
kids or cats or pets or you name it, man. But hey, man, to end this whole episode, would you say that grief and loss is a teacher of self resilience?
I would. I
How
would.
so? How so, man?
Grief and loss and resiliency, right? So you have to get over loss. You have to overcome grief, because like I said in the first topic, you don't want your loved one or something to see you moping. It's not going to do any good, right? Like, take for instance, I'm just giving you a quick scenario. My parents and my family were the life of the party. They would have get-togethers at my house all the time because we had everything, right? When my dad passed in 2010, you know, well, I'm sorry, when they moved from Maryland to Chile because my grandmother passed away, the parties were over because my parents moved. My father passed away in 2010. It left my mother and my sister. They moved back, but for 15 years later, 14 years. It was, let's get together at this person's house. It wasn't how it was before. And when my mom passed away, everything just went to right. It took me about 6 to 7 months to really get over my father passing. It really took about 6 to 7 months. Took my wife maybe 3 to 4 days to tell me to snap out of it because my dad wouldn't want me to be moping. Why? He was the life of the party. He was the party starter. I
Yeah,
was the party starter. I became the party starter.
you carry the torch.
Yes. My mom passed between January of 2024, September of 2024. I prepared myself. I prepared myself. How? By not worrying about it. I'm sorry to say it that way, but by not worrying about it. Why? Because, like how you said, death is going to come. You don't know when. I was planning my mom's passing in February when I got a phone call at 3 o'clock in the morning, but that didn't happen. So from that phone call to September, I just really didn't worry about it until it happened. I took the grief of my father and that time and shrunk it because my mom wouldn't want me to be moping like I did with my father. So letting go of grief turned it into triumph. Surpass I was able to surpass grief and loss quicker than anything else. I mean, yes, I'm still sad, even more when my mother-in-law passed. Like, I was bawling. I bawled because I lost my only mother figure I had left in 6 months after my mom passed. My birth mother,
Yeah,
you know.
absolutely.
But I'm turning that into comfort, into resiliency, into triumph
Into growth.
because they wouldn't in growth. And thank you. They wouldn't want you to be all sad and stuff for what? No reason to. There's no reason to.
It's okay
None.
to be in mourning, to have that respect, of remembrance, but
Right.
don't stay there too long to the point that you forget to live your life. Yeah. No, absolutely, man. And thank you for sharing that. And like man, I always like to share at the end of the podcast a book that was recommended to me by a counselor, and it speaks about how the brain and mind and body remember the traumas, and you can argue that one of the traumas that I guess we both lived is the loss of a loved one,
Hmm.
especially when you're young or when you're older, depending on the bond of your parents or your loved one, whoever it was. It kind of like shakes you to the core, like I can't believe this happened. It's called The Body Keeps the Score.
Body keeps the score.
Yeah, and the author is Dr. Bessel van der Kolk, Dr. Bessel van der Kolk, MD, and he writes about
Body
everything
keeps.
from childhood to adulthood to in between, and how to better help us with our traumas and how to heal from
Hmm.
our traumas. A great book, I recommend it, and it was recommended to me by a counselor of mine, and so I had to, I guess, pass it on. But
You know, that, that book on Amazon has sold 80.9 thousand copies and has a 4.8 star rating.
yeah, man, it's a good
About to,
book.
s- I'm about
It
to swipe it, and it looks like from what I'm seeing, it's a New York.
okay. I recommend it, man. It was recommended to me by my counselor, and I can't get over it. It goes in deep, man. Just be prepared. Some of the topics that they speak about are pretty deep. So, but it's all for the betterment of oneself, to
Mhm.
reflect, to heal, to know that hey, just because this happened to me doesn't mean I can't get over it. But I
Right.
digress. I digress. Hector, thank you so much for being on here, man. I'm glad that we did episode 20 with you. You've been a friend, you've been a brother, and I can't wait to do more episodes with you in the future on different topics and sharing your personal growth with the audience and seeing how we relate to everything, bro. But the floor is yours, and after this, we bouncing, man.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate, round two, because um, everybody's perspective on life and these wonderful topics, are different. I might learn something from one of your cast members, your previous people that I didn't know. I appreciate it. I love the podcast. I watch every episode while I'm at work. But it's a beautiful thing to see, and hear other people's perspective in certain topics. We might not all agree, but it's a learning thing, and it's a really great what's the word I'm looking for? Venue, you
Huh?
know? You wanna say hi?
Ahoy, hoy.
Oh, hi.
Wanna know something funny
Me,
What's
or something cool?
me.
You share the same birthday as his daughter.
Oh,
That's right. You do. Uh,
What's
it's
your birthday?
17.
You see?
Yeah.
then why,
August 17th.
then why is 6 scared of 7?
I don't Hey, I'm almost done, okay?
7,
Wow.
8, 9.
So, but I mean, this is a great forum. It's a wonderful forum to talk,
Yeah.
honestly,
No, thanks, man.
because like I mean, I've been in counseling for a long time. I've seen many counselors. Some are great and some suck. Not gonna lie, some are great and some just suck. But I love your book. I'm gonna from the reviews I'm seeing, and I just swiped. It'll be here probably between 4 and 8 o'clock in the morning.
Hey, man, control yourself now. You did speak about if you see it, you want it, you get it. So control yourself.
Hey, whoa, whoa,
But
whoa! I'm medicated, sir.
okay,
This is a
okay.
controlled. This is.
I think the whole topic of this episode was just walked out a minute ago.
Mhm.
We all have somebody else to live for. It's important to take care of ourselves for them, not just for us, but for them as well. And it's a beautiful thing that she walked in, man. So Hector, thank you for coming in. I wish you well, man. Say hi to the family, stay blessed, and you're always welcome on here, man.
Always, brother. Thank you for the invite. I appreciate it, and we shall see what episode I pop up next on.